a great activity just to come up and swim for a couple of hours, cool off, wear my kids out.
The swimming pool is synonymous with summer, but the last thing you want is to end the day in the water with someone sick.
Yeah, tonight we want to make sure that you have the information you need for your family to be pool prepared. This week we saw as many as 50 people treated for serious illnesses after a chlorine pump malfunctioned at a Pleasant Grove pool.
Many of those patients were young children.
And there were coughing and kids like foaming at the mouth and like throwing up blood and bloody noses, and I turned to her and I'm like, what is going on?
I mean, it was two little girls sitting on the bench coughing and coughing with red eyes, and they looked sick. And so that's when we knew something was going on.
Tonight, we've learned everyone treated from this incident has been released from hospitals, and they're now at home.
The investigation into what exactly happened, however, is still ongoing, and the pool remains closed indefinitely. While Pleasant Grove officials believe they know what equipment failed and released extra chlorine into the water, they cannot make the needed repairs until the city's insurance company can inspect in person, and that cannot happen until sometime next week.
Once the insurance adjuster does their investigation and we've gathered all the facts, then we'll release a statement that will explain what happened that evening and then what the city has done to fix it so it doesn't happen in the future.
KSL investigators looked into the health record of Veterans Memorial Pool there in Pleasant Grove. Here's what we found.
Documents obtained through a public records request show consistent inspections by the Utah County Health Department every year in May, including just weeks ago. Those reports showing no signs of trouble. In fact, the most recent inspection finding a broken tile in the women's changing room that needed to be fixed and soap that needed to be replaced. We also got the report dated June 5th, the day after the chlorine exposure. Health officials noting that a device would be installed to sync up the circulation pump and the chlorine pump, meaning when one shuts down, so does the other. It also identified steps that needed to be taken given the pump turning off has not happened in the past and is a first-time incident. The pool is to establish a protocol that when the pump does shut down, lifeguards are to remove patrons until chemicals have been verified.
While chemicals are a real threat at pools, you're more likely to get sick from bacteria in the water. Cryptosporidium, our favorite word in the summer, is the most common parasite in pools, and its effects are not pleasant. It's spread through contaminated water, and it causes severe diarrhea. Anyone infected who uses a pool can contaminate the water for at least 2 weeks.
The last thing we need is for somebody that's sick and contagious with diarrhea getting into that pool, because if there's any germs on their body, it's going to wash off into that pool water. Even though there's chlorine there, it does not instantaneously get rid of germs.
The best weapon against crypto, ultraviolet filters. Several years ago, Utah counties took major steps to reduce crypto outbreaks. Salt Lake County spent $500,000 to install UV filtering systems at all county pools. And here's something you might not know, you might not want to know. Chlorine, which is important for killing crypto and other parasites, doesn't really have a smell. What you think of when you think you're smelling chlorine is actually the chemical mixing with urine. A really strong smell at the pool may be a telltale sign that you want to stay out of that pool. Public pools are only required to test bacteria levels once a day, but you can be your own pool inspector.
You can. Experts suggest using your senses to check the health of a pool before you actually get into the water there. You should be able to see clearly through the water to the bottom. Pools should not have a strong chemical smell, as just noted. The tiles around the pool should feel clean and not slimy. You may hear the sound of the pool filter at work, but definitely avoid tasting the water. That goes unsaid, right? The CDC also now suggesting bringing your own chlorine and pH test strips to check the chemical balance yourself. It is simple and it's pretty quick, and you can order a free testing kit at healthypools.org.
Coming up next, the #1 danger at the pool, drowning.
Yeah, but it probably does not look like what you think it looks like. What to watch for and how to reduce the risk by more than 80%.
Drowning in backyard pools is the #1 cause of death, non-congenital cause of death in children 1 to 4. So if a child under the age of 4 dies from an accident, it's going to be drowning in either a backyard pool, in a backyard pond, in a bucket, in a cooler.
Yeah, the stats show drowning is a major danger for children in the summer months. But would you recognize it if it happened in the pool right in front of you?
Many of us might not. NBC's Jeff Rossen shows what we should really be looking for and what we should do when we spot it.
Right now, a child is drowning in this pool. Can you spot him? I'll give you a second. Can't find him? Don't feel bad, I couldn't either. Let me zoom all the way in. There he is, just went off that tube. It happens that fast, even in a packed pool like this. Luckily, a lifeguard spots him and saves his life. So this summer, with kids and adults jumping in, all of us need to be ready.
It can be completely silent and quick.
Jeff Thompson is a certified lifeguard. I've always thought when a child is drowning, when anyone is drowning, they'd be flailing around, screaming, help, I can't swim.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not the case. They really can't breathe, so they really can't be calling out for help.
So what does it look like when somebody's drowning?
A drowning victim's feet basically look like they're climbing upstairs. Their arms are going up and down in the water, and all the action is really occurring under the water. There's no splashing to be heard on the surface. It looks very similar to this.
So it sort of looks like you're just relaxing on your back, except you're vertical in the water. You're
That's
not laying
correct.
on your back. Okay, so what do you do if you notice someone drowning? We're about to show you. I'm going to play the victim here. Jeff, show us how to do it.
First thing you want to do is scream for somebody to call 911. You never jump in the pool after somebody in the water because they can pull you under. Use something like a pool skimmer or your arm. Your pool skimmer really should be left on the pool deck.
That's a critical tip. Keep your pool skimmer handy.
You want to grab them by the wrists and pull them up out of the water. Then you want to roll them over, and if necessary, start CPR.
In the movies, I always see everyone going for the mouth-to-mouth.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. For the folks at home, we really want to focus on just chest compressions because that's what's going to keep the brain alive until the ambulance gets here.
So what do you do?
You find the base of the rib cage, 2 fingers above that little notch at the bottom. You place one heel there and the other hand on top of it, lacing your fingers, and you compress the chest at about 100 compressions a minute, like you're trying to squeeze the water out of a wet Nerf ball.
This looks like it could hurt somebody.
It can break ribs, but it's going to keep them alive.
Wow, that's eye-opening, right?
Yeah, it is.
According to the USA Swimming Foundation, formal swim lessons can reduce the risk of drowning by as much as 88%.
Yeah, now's a great time to sign up. You can find swimming lessons at just about every public pool here in Utah. We'll be right back.
Thanks for staying up with us for this special Pool Prepared report.
Yeah, have a safe weekend. We'll see you right back here on Monday. Have a good weekend.